it's Sam, and today I'm going to talk about the series that I want to finish. So I have a series that I will not finish video that is very popular because people love to hear other people talk shit, and that is linked up above for you to check out if you haven't seen it already. But somebody, I believe, on Tumblr messaged me and said, hey, would you ever consider doing a video on series that you want to finish and series you want to start? And I was like, yes, I can do that. So here are some series that I've already started that I want to either finish or catch up on. Keep in mind that as of the recording of this video, this is series that I have additional books available to me to read. So while there are some series that aren't finished yet that I want to finish, I can't finish them because those books aren't released yet. Fallen Kingdoms, for example. These are book series that I have other books to read in the series. Most of them are already finished. I think like 90% of them are already finished, but there's a few on here that are still ongoing, but I have books to catch up on anyway. You get what I'm saying? So the first series is the Tierling trilogy by Erica Johansson. I only have the last book in the series to read, which is The Fate of the Tierling. This is an adult fantasy series, but it's adult fantasy slash futuristic fantasy series. It's awesome, and I love it so much, and I cannot wait for the finale. The finale and this series in general has a lot of mixed reviews, but I personally love it. So you at least have to try the first book and see if you like it, and then kind of go from there. But I think I'm going to have a great time with it. Then we have the Monsters of Verity series by V.E. Schwab, and I've read the first book, but I haven't read the last book yet. And everyone says the last book's really good. It's just a duology, so I love that. And this is in a world where people's sins, for lack of a better term, violent acts, turn in manifest monsters. It's great. I really enjoy it, and I need to read the last book because I hear it's devastating and I'm ready for that. Then we have the Expanse series by James S.A. Corey. I've only read the first book. I believe it's a 5 or 6 book series. It's an adult science fiction space opera series, and it's also a TV show is now based on it. So I want to read all of them. This one was a fun time, and I hear they just get better, so I can't wait. I own the second book. You gotta get to that. Then we have the Temeraire series by Naomi Novik. This is the Napoleonic Wars with dragons. It's an adult fantasy series. Lovely, and the relationships between these people and their dragons like warm the cockles of my cold, cold heart. And I love it. There's like 7 books in this series. I need to get on this. Then we have the Kingkiller Chronicles by Patrick Rothfuss. Yes, this series isn't finished. Yes, we don't know when the 3rd book's coming out, but I haven't read the 2nd book yet. It's like over 1,000 pages, so that needs to happen. But it's hard to motivate yourself when the last book doesn't even have a release date. It's hard. Then we have the Gentleman Bastard series by Scott Lynch, the first book being The Lies of Locke Lamora, which is one of my favorite books of all time. I talk about it often, and yet I haven't read the 2nd book. I'm actually hoping to do that this month. We'll see if that happens. But I need to keep reading these. They're great. They're also an ongoing series, but we don't know when the next book's coming out, and it's fine. Everything's fine. Then we have the Broken Earth series by N.K. Jemisin. This is a recently completed series. It's an adult fantasy, post-apocalyptic fantasy, brutal world, amazing writing, award-winning series, just great in every way. And the last book is finally out, The Stone Sky, and I need to read it like ASAP. But I also don't want to be devastated. I will be. Gonna be awesome. Then we have the Seven Realms series by Cinda Williams-Chima. This is a longer YA fantasy series. I read this first book, and this is dense. Didn't really enjoy it a ton. I think I read it last year, but I've heard the series is amazing, and I still want to give it a chance. I think it's a 5-book series, and it's tons of fun, and there's little tropes I like in it, but this was a very foundational book, and I haven't been able to really get the motivation to keep reading, but I want to. I plan to. It's gonna happen. Then we have the Red Rising series by Pierce Brown. I know the series is now continuing. There's going to be a companion series, but either way, as of the filming of this video, I've read this first book. I'm currently reading Golden Sun, which is the 2nd book, in a fun time. So I want to finish out this trilogy and then probably end up continuing reading in the series as it goes on. But this is a fun series. It's a science fiction series. It feels dystopian, and it is dystopian, but like it's not your typical dystopian. It's so much better than you would think it would be. I will link my review on the screen for it because I didn't give it a chance for a long time, and wow, that was a mistake. Then we have the Old Man's War series by John Scalzi. This is a fairly large adult science fiction series as well. And I read this first book like I think over 2 years ago. Oops. And it takes place in the future when people, when they reach the age I think of 75, enroll in the intergalactic military, and no one really knows what happens, and our main character obviously does this, and then goes on crazy adventures. So it's a fun time. I love John Scalzi's writing. I always forget to continue this series, and I really need to because it's very well loved. He's great with space operas. Every time I talk about him, I mention this. I need to do it. Oops. Then we have Becky Chambers' world of books. I don't actually know if this series has a name because they're all companion novels, but it's the same world as The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. I need to read A Close and Common Orbit, and I think a third book is coming out, but I just don't know quite anything about that yet. But these books are amazing. They're adult science fiction books, and they're lovely and very character focused, and they make me so happy, so I need to keep reading them. Then we have Robin Hobb's Realm of the Elderling overarching series. This first trilogy is the Farseer trilogy, which I need to continue with, but she has many different trilogies and series that take place within the overarching universe of the Realm of the Elderlings, and I want to read all of them. They're now completed, but there's like 16 of them, so it's gonna take me a while. The Farseer trilogy, everyone says, is like their mostly least favorite trilogy, but the characters in this pop up in later series, and like almost every other trilogy focuses on them, so I needed to read this to get on to the later stuff, but I'm not super motivated to continue this necessarily, but I have the second book and I'm going to. I just need to get through this to get to the really good stuff. Then we have the Parasol Protectorate series by Gail Carriger. I actually read this first book soulless before I even joined BookTube, and then just promptly kind of forgot about it, but then kept being reminded of it by BookTube once I joined BookTube, and I need to actually finish this whole series. This is a steampunk adult urban fantasy series. So fun! It's so fun and funny, and it's just a great time, but I haven't continued with it, which is stupid. Because they're so easy to read. Urban fantasies are so easy to read, and I feel like this one, of all the urban fantasies I know about, is one of the least problematic ones, because that urban fantasy, real problematic. Then we have the Gold Seer trilogy by Ray Carson. You guys know I talk about the Girl of Fire and Thorns trilogy by Ray Carson, which is a very underrated, under-talked about, under-hyped series on BookTube. You guys need to all read it. But this is her second series, and this is about Gold Rush America, and the main character can sense gold in the earth, which can obviously be problematic during that time, and it's great. I love this first book. I think the series is now done, or at least close to being done, and I haven't caught up with it. Why? And like I think it's because like no one's talking about it, so I forget about it all the time. But it's good. It's really good. And I just am not reading it, and it's horrible, so I need to. And these covers are really stunning. Like, why does no one talk about these books? And her as an author in general. Why? Then we have the Finnegan of the Rock trilogy by Melina Marchetta. This is similar to the Seven Realms series in that I didn't really love this first book, but everyone says that this whole series as a whole is amazing, so I want to keep reading. I heard the second two books in the series are much better, but I just haven't gotten to them. But I mean to. I mean, they're kind of like classics within the YA fantasy realm, and I just haven't gotten to them. And lastly, we have the Kazmir Universe in general by Brandon Sanderson. The only series that I've read by him is the Mistborn series, and I've also read Warbreaker, but I need to read the rest of the books within this overarching world, very similar to the Realm of the Elderlings, where it's like this overarching universe, things are connected, all this stuff, but there's a bunch of different trilogies. I want to keep reading the Mistborn trilogy. I want to read like the Words of Radiance, where there's the Stormlight Archives books, and continue on in that massive world, but man is it overwhelming. I gotta read Elantris next, and then I can continue with all these other ones that people keep demanding that I read, and I'm going to. I plan on it. Guys, I'm going to. I just have an order that I'm reading them in. Okay? I'm gonna do it. It's in the video. I'm gonna do it. Alright guys, so that is it for these series that I want to finish. Comment down below, let me know some series that you have started that you would like to finish or catch up on if they're currently ongoing. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see all you guys soon. Bye!